Hello and welcome to another video. We're coming at you today on Thanksgiving. So I thought what subject would be more appropriate than talking about being thankful. And being thankful is a thing that the modern women of today, the entitled woman, they don't know how to be thankful. They're unthankful. They don't have a thankful heart. They have a complaining, murmuring, fault-finding heart. Because they can find faults in everybody else, like this. But if they're to look in the mirror, they don't even see those same faults in themselves. And what I've noticed is when someone else points out a fault in another person, I'd say 9 out of 10 times that person who pointed the fault out in others, or the fault finder, has the same fault, and they're even worse at what they're accusing the other of doing, because they see themselves through rose-colored glasses. You know, they see themselves, they judge themselves because of their intentions. They meant well. Whereas they don't see the intentions of other people, they just see what the end result. So then they try to judge the inner motive. Because today's woman is a know-it-all. Especially if she's been to one of these college brainwashing institutions, propaganda machines, putting out politically correct people that the establishment, the world rulers, the dark world rulers of this world approve of. The ideal citizen. Back in the 50s they used to have a good citizen would do this, and yeah, that's a good citizen, and give a title. They want everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but this world wants you as a man to get your identity out of a title. Not out of who you are, but out of what you do. I watched a very inspirational movie the other weekend. It was called Overcomer. It was about this basketball coach who his son was on I believe it was the high school varsity team. Spoiler alert too, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to blur it out, so you've been warned. But anyways, long story short, this power plant moves to another city to relocate. Many parents leave, so as all his star players leave. So he has no team, and then they demote him to being a coach for cross country. So a person in the movie asked him, they said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm a basketball coach." And the guy said, "No, who are you? You don't have a team. Who are you?" And the guy couldn't, the main character of this movie, he would get his identity out of what he did. And I found that movie, I seen myself in that man, where I got my identity, out of what I was. I was many things. I was a husband, I was a father, I was a provider, a protector, a teacher, raising them kids up right, loving them as they were their own, and 2 out of 3 of them loved me more than their own biological father. But that's another story. But anyways, thankfulness. Back to that in the movie. So the character said, well, when you lost your team to the coach in the movie, you weren't just hurt by it, you were devastated by it. And he was. And I seen myself in it. Like I say, I got my identity out of being a husband, a father, provider, protector, lover, all of that, stuff. So when it was all taken away in one fell swoop, it didn't just hurt, I was devastated. And probably if you would have asked me who was I at that time, I wouldn't have known. So this whole divorce and me, I'm going on living in my own house for 3 months by myself, and at this point it feels like she never lived here. What a blessing. There's obviously no evidence she lived here because everything is in order and decent. So anyways, back to the thread of this video, thankfulness. Thankfulness is linked to your well-being, your peace of mind, your joy. Because if you look at unthankful people, they're usually not happy, are they? All these things go together. Thoughts also lead to feelings. So if you feel down, it's because you've been thinking low. You've had low thinking. Probably because you've been hanging around losers who have no goals or direction for their life. So they just talk all that nonsense. And because these losers have literally did nothing with their life, and if you, let's say you tell them, well, I want to start a business, they'll give you all the reasons why you can't do that and why that's a bad idea. If you call them people friends, they're not your friends. Them people are your enemies, and you need to quit hanging around them. Because they've done nothing with their life. That's why they know that nothing can be done, because they're living proof, ain't they? They ain't did nothing with their life. So they're going to literally judge you by their failures. If you couldn't bench, if they couldn't squat 500 pounds growing up, then automatically if you talk to them, you can't either. And get away from them people. Them people are toxic, whether they're male, whether they're female. You need to surround yourself with people who are on a higher level than you, a higher plane. Like, let's say you want to know about computers. Well, then you better make friends with a bunch of geeky brainiacs who know their way around the keyboard. So you could increase by association. So for most people, they're increasing, but it isn't in beneficial knowledge, profitable knowledge. They're increasing more in foolishness and in gossip and in things that don't matter in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't even got to go into how social media has literally ruined people. But it was all designed to be that way. That's why I always avoided Facebook altogether. Other than the brief few months when I had the Chad Hart page, to sell that wrestling gimmick that I did for a year. And must say, it got a lot of great heat. I mean, people hated me. They literally hated me, wanted me to die. You ain't Bret Hart? I said, I know, I'm Chad Hart. But anyways, that was funny. So since I don't do that wrestling gimmick anymore, now this channel is devoted to Red Pill, MGTOW truth. It is devoted to, it's not designed necessarily to blue pill people who are in the spell. Them people, just let them learn the hard way. I like to get more into the deeper things of whatever I talk about. I mean, my hobbies are reading books. I like reading encyclopedias. I read the Bible. And like Matt Cross said on Alpha Male Secrets, how the Bible is the most red pill book that's ever been written. That's why they don't want you to know what it says. And these churches aren't red pill because they don't go by what the Bible says. And since I'm on the subject of the Bible, if anyone's interested in more Bible teaching from yours truly, if you go to SoundCloud.com and you search Brave Warrior Productions, that's me. And there's 135 full Bible studies on it if you want to. If you don't, I don't care. It don't matter to me. But if you enjoy the truth, that's another thing for you. So what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving? I'm thankful for my freedom. I'm thankful I don't live with a woman, because living with a woman is just a lawsuit waiting to happen nowadays. I am thankful for the knowledge. I'm not thankful that I was in a failed marriage, but I am thankful for all of the wisdom that I gained out of it. And that's wisdom that nobody can talk me out of, because I was there and I lived it. And ain't nobody going to gaslight me and try to make me think it didn't happen, because I know it did. So what are you thankful for? And you need to be hanging around thankful people, positive people. It's vitally important that you keep you as a man, your job is to control the atmosphere that you live in. Not the woman. The woman, well, I won't even get into that. But you as a man, you control the atmosphere you live in. If they're negative worry-warts, if you think that ain't going to rub off on you, you're wrong, because who you hang around is who you become. Any parent knows, let's say they have a young child in elementary school, and all of a sudden this child comes home one day, and he's saying these profanity words and acting completely different. The mother or father asks the child what? They ask him, who are you been hanging around? Because they know it didn't originate from that individual. So you got to ask yourself, where is all this blue pill misinformation originating from? Because it ain't originating from us as men. See, it's being forced on us in the television, the radio, the internet, the movies, music. The quote, love music. That's blue pill as hell. And you as a male need to stop listening to that crap. Like the songs, oh baby, I just can't live without you. What a load of steaming bullshit. You better put your feet up on this one, because the bullshit's getting deep. Because that type of blue pill music is aimed toward men to make beta males more beta. What if you look at the women, or the music designed for women? You know, they don't have any songs saying they can't live without a man. They got songs saying the opposite, that they don't need a man, that they're a strong, independent woman, and they don't need no man. And that's most likely because no man wants a strong, independent woman, and nor does he want to marry up one of these broads. So then they'll try to spin it, because they got to keep the illusion they're in control. So then they'll say, well, I'm just choosing not to be married. What a joke. What a joke. In today's world, marriage to a woman is winning the lottery. I mean, when you get engaged, all your girlfriends are pregnant, or not pregnant, but excited, and then they start, throwing gifts your way, because you're getting married. Then you have the wedding, and then it's here like the man pays whatever he does. If he's blue pill, he's going to pay like $90,000 for a, fairy tale Disney Cinderella type wedding. And most likely by the time, I can't apply this, but an old video photographer for marriage, he said most of the time when the photos were finally developed, printed, and delivered, the people were already divorced by then. He said that's much more common than you think. So marriage only works if you do, and a relationship, you can do everything on your side, but if the other person ain't doing their part, it's never going to work. And that's a truth that many blue pill men who are stuck in dead-end marriages just refuse to accept. They think they'll inspire the woman. If she sees me work a little bit harder, then that'll inspire her to. No, it won't. If it'll have the opposite effect. Because you are trying to apply logic and man thinking, quote unquote, to a woman who is emotional, irrational, and she will make life-changing, life-impacting decisions that literally impact the rest of her life on solely her emotions. All right, so to be thankful is to appreciate what you have by not neglecting it, maintaining it. As a man, you have things, so you either maintain them or you let them fall apart and go to crap. It's one or the other. And maintaining everything, it's work. But it's supposed to be work. If this was easy, everyone would do it. Because going red pill, no, it's easier to be blue pill. I mean, look at the first Matrix movie. I don't recall his name, but the bald guy, the Benedict Arnold of that movie. He voluntarily went back into the Matrix. Why? Because it was easier. He quit. He decided he hated being on the run all the time. He even wanted to taste steak, even though it was a simulated taste. He still wanted it. He missed the blue pill. And that's because he got gaslighted. So you as a man, once you go, there is no going back. Once you go this direction, there is no returning to the plantation. And why would you want to go back to the plantation anyway? With your wishful thinking you'll have hopefully I have a kind slave master who lets me have my little man cave. And in fact, I'm going to make a upcoming video about that. The truth about man caves. And it's not what you think. To give you just a little bit of what's to come in that video, is the fact that a man has a man cave proves the woman already took over the house. Okay? So that video will be coming up. Stay tuned for it. But as far as the thankfulness thing, I'm thankful that I'm not doing this I don't care about how many subscribers I have or this or listens or views or likes. It don't matter. If all these videos I put out merely saves one young man out there from making the mistake of getting married and throwing his life away, I made this video for you. All these videos, I did it just for you. Learn from my mistakes. Marriage is not what you think it is. It is not what they told us as we grew up. It's completely different, but unless you've experienced it, you don't really know. So be thankful. If you're single, male out there, no kids, be thankful. I'm thankful because right now I am in a position where every miserable married man would love to be. I have the house to myself. I'm unmarried, unattached, no kids, no child support, no alimony. and it feels like she didn't even live in this house. So I'm thankful for that. I'm not thankful I went to the stupid area of getting married, but I am thankful that I got out of that unscathed. And I know that's a rare exception. And I also know that second marriages have a higher failure rate than the first one. So why would I ever do that again? Nuh-uh. No LTRs, no cohabitation, and surely no marriage. So take those. Those are, there's all these now, because MGTOW is getting bigger. There's all these different divisions and, I don't know what you want to call them, denominations, the breakaway groups about, are you MGTOW this? Well, let's all unite under these 3 MGTOW principles. These are the fundamentals of MGTOW. No long-term relationships, no cohabitation, and no marriage. Young men out there, take these laws to heart. Until the laws, especially in America, about marriage are reformed to be somewhat fair, you as a man, it's the dumbest thing you can do is to get married. So you do not want to make that mistake. Trust me, I was there, I lived it. It's like at some point I wish it never happened, but at the other point I figure if it wouldn't have been her, it would have been some other woman, because I was, blue pill as hell back then. But we all were. And anyone who says, oh, I was always red pill, you're the most blue pill son of a bitch walking. Because red pillars are all about the truth. Blue pillars want to, use deception and lies. Well, it's easier, again, to lie than to tell the truth. Especially when you're going to get your ass burned for telling the truth. But a real man would say it anyway. Because it's all about integrity. You as a man, if you say it, it ought to be as good as done. If you say it, it's as good as gold, as they used to say. Be different from the crowd. I mean, how many people do you know who actually have integrity? If they say a thing, they actually stick to it and do it. It's a very admirable characteristic. The women, the older women of the 1950s, before feminism got a hold of them, those were the type of men that the women craved. But now, today, if you're that type of a man toward a woman, they despise you over it, they reject you, and they lie even more to you. They figure, he's bringing too much truth into this relationship, so I better crank up the lies. So anyways, just be thankful for what you have. Stop your bitching and be thankful.